Hi, welcome to vlog number 5. The circle of life brings us joy and sorrow in equal measure. We just had a magical Christmas with our first granddaughter, who is just 16 months old. My wife's youngest son and his fiancée are expecting a baby in May this year. So that's the joyful part of life's circle. This year we also have the sorrowful to contend with. My wife's grandma was 100 years old last year and is now suffering with dementia. She was living in her own house up until quite recently, but for her own safety had moved into a care home. She had a fall and broke her hip a couple of months ago and had to have an operation. Unfortunately, she then had an infection which the hospital had been treating with antibiotics. Over the festive period, we heard that the hospital had withdrawn her antibiotics because she was not responding to them, and are now medicating her with morphine to make her comfortable. We realise that that is a euphemism for there's nothing more we can do for her. So we all just want her to be in no pain and for her passing to be swift. My wife wanted to visit her in hospital, so this week we drove from Norfolk to the hospital in Hampshire, a round trip of almost 400 miles. My wife sat with her grandma for almost 4 hours, talking to her, telling her how much she is loved, reminiscing about things that my wife remembered about her grandparents when she was just a child, talking about her family members by name, about the baby, about the dog. Although her grandma hardly opened her eyes the whole time we were there, she did respond to my wife, and I believe that she knew she was with her granddaughter. At one point, one of the nurses brought in her evening meal and attempted to feed her, with limited success. While she was trying to get her to eat, my wife chatted to the nurse about her grandma, telling her a little about the woman she was, in an attempt to humanise her, to make her realise that she was a human being, a much-loved mother, grandma, great-grandma, and great-great-grandma, not just another faceless old woman nearing the end of her life. To be fair, I think the nurses do a remarkable job, but I'm sure it's all too easy to see a patient as merely a body that requires their attention. When we left the hospital, her grandma was peacefully asleep, and my wife felt comforted by the fact that she'd been able to chat to her and get her to respond. I think it was about giving my wife closure as much as anything, although I know that she will be grief-stricken when the time comes. Her dad had said to her that she shouldn't be sad. It's just what happens to us all in the end, as we come to the end of our circle. And so, as her grandma reaches the end of her circle, our granddaughter is just beginning hers. And there'll be another circle starting in May, when our next grandchild is born. Thanks for listening. That's all for this week. See you next Friday.